I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. I don't know how much of this I can keep doing. I'm just grinding my soul away in my job, and none of it feels fulfilling. I barely got the energy to get up in the morning. I'm starting to dread just everyday life. I'm starting to get burnt out making a pound of beef. I'm starting to get burnt out going to the bathroom. It's getting bad, guys. And I don't know if it's just me. I hope to God it's just me, because I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. But when you're in a mindset like I'm in, and I don't know what I'm going to phrase this video topic. I don't know if I want to keep it as a ramble, but maybe we'll discuss something. But I feel so demoralized in this society we're in. It feels like nothing you could do is ever going to get you ahead. And there's been no point where inflation suddenly reverses to the other end. There's been no point where inflation just turned itself around. And I think the only way that's going to ever be able to happen is, well, you probably got a rough idea. And I think the American poor being the new standard of living for just about everybody who's in the country. Just, you're part of the proletariat. You gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No one's gonna be there for you. You gotta do it all by yourself. You gotta fix it all by yourself. I don't think people can do that. And I don't even know if, even if we did win this huge war that they're waging against us to, frankly, divide us, I don't know if the people will make it through. I think the internet's collectively destroyed everybody. But in this dismal days of disadvantage that we find ourselves in, I think I'll talk about the height pill. That's a start. Let's talk about the height pill. In this life, having good height, having good solid stature is something that will get you ahead in quite a lot of places. If you don't got stature, if you don't got any domineering effect when you walk in the room, just based on the shadow that you cast on the ground, you're seen more meek. You're seen more like a drone, more like a cog. And let me drag this to how this enacted itself in the workplace, where when I first started McDonald's. When I was in McDonald's, making $9.25 an hour, one thing you notice, one after the other, is that all the managers, every single one of them, even the female manager, they're all tall. They were all like gargantuan. And at least like the prerequisite is like 6'3". You got to be 6'3" to be a manager. And we had like 4 of them, and they were all these tall guys, and they weren't making that much. I don't think the managers make that much. I think, at the time of me making $9.25, they're probably making 15 or something. But regardless, like the advantage of them getting that position, the domineering coordinator position, was solely to the aspect that they were just tall, and they're able to get all these easy spots in life because I guess just the effect that they command. I suppose maybe it's how people revere them because they're just taller. That applies to the dating market as well. It's a more chosen factor, and I think that's even a more chosen factor than having a good looking face. Because if you have a good face and you're short, you're still short. I mean, who knows what else is small if you're small? And chances are it's probably true. So you can only go so far with the face card. Maybe you can get internet clout, but if people see you against a door frame, well then forget about it. So anyway, all these managers were stacked to the boards, and you notice this with the McDonald's new hires. There was one, he was just a crew member. He was just the average guy. And then he came in, and he basically, like, after only being at the job for like 2 weeks, just became a manager out of the blue. It was his first job. He never had any other job, and he was asked if he wanted to be manager. And he was like this immature like kid, but he was really tall. And he played a lot of League of Legends in the break room. And me and him kind of had like some kind of little rivalry going on because at the time I was like lifting weights and I was like doing dips on the fucking on the counter by the drive-through when I was making like smoothies and just sitting by the window. He had like a weight that he brought with him in the break room, so he like literally brought like a dumbbell. It was funny that place that I worked at. I did some shit. I pulled some fucking prank, and I like put like some black ice face on the computer wallpaper, and like everybody's asking like, oh, who's this fucking guy in the wallpaper? And I was like kind of like giggling myself. Immature shit, like for like some 17-year-old would do. But yeah, this kid was essentially like only there for like such a short amount of time, and yet he wasn't a very good manager either. But because he was tall, he was able to get the spot. And the general manager was a tall woman, so she was like about like a 5'11" woman. So she wasn't even tall, but for a woman, she was tall, and she got the spot. So it's very interesting how the entire dynamic works. I mean, my God, at that at my job, it was like the whole crusty crew. We had Squidward. I mean, he always like kind of talked low. He always had that like pessimism like laced within him. He was a manager too, but he was really tall. We had a Mr. Krabs guy. He was like a cheap kind of guy. He's like rotund. He was like fat. It just thinking back, and I was SpongeBob, of course, because I had nothing but a smirk on my face, and I was just enjoying the breeze at that point. But yeah, that was McDonald's, and who knows what else he was able to accomplish in his life because of the stature he commanded. But I do know he dated one of the people who was a crew trainer at McDonald's, and seemingly they were the only ones like dating at McDonald's. So it was kind of off-putting, but interesting nonetheless. It was just like fat chick too. But anyway, that's besides the point. If you command some kind of stature, chances are you're going to be the first to be the boss. You're going to be the first to be the president, the CEO, the manager, whatever. You're just going to be up there because, you know, you're the exception. You're the rarity. You just mog everybody. Even if you're a little bit ugly, you still have that domineering effect to you. So you can have a good looking face, but you could still be treated like you're a drone. And I want to bring that effect to my current workplace. I work in this warehouse, and we had like 2 managers, right? We had assistant managers, and they were basically meeting a quota. They were doing what they needed to do, and they were like very hard work, and they were exceeding well at their job, and they were busting their ass, spending like at least 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. I think they had a bit more optimism than I did when I first clocked in there. I was a bit more jaded throughout the years, but they're kind of young, and they really got hashed on by the upper management, by the old heads, by the they just said you ain't doing enough, you got to meet this quota. And essentially these 2 guys, they're pretty short, like 5'7", 5'5", 5'4", who knows, but one of them kind of looked like Donkey from Shrek if he was a person, but kind of interesting. But the other one wasn't that bad. He had an okay face card. They just bullied the shit out of him. The old heads really fucking hated the guy. Maybe because he wasn't the DEI propaganda hire. So they pretty much bullied him into quitting at some point. Like first he just ditched the assistant manager role, and then he just completely decided, okay, well, I'm just gonna be a part of the crew. I'm not even gonna go for the high position. I'm not gonna be a trainer anymore. I'm just gonna blend in now. And they did that for like 3 weeks, and it happened with the other guy too. And like after that 3 weeks period of time, they just said, fucking, I'm quitting. So who knows what the hell they're doing now? Are they going to college? Are they staying home? I'm just super interested in like how the cards crumble. What's the ending? What's the message of this story here? Is it just it's done, you're cooked, or is it like what else are they getting up for? So I'm interested in where their mind probably went after all the shit that they've been through, because who knows, they probably got nobody to talk to about it without them, or even their family calling them a clown or something. But that was them. And thankfully, like me at my job, I'm not very I make it seem like I'm super autistic. Like, well, I probably am, to be fair, but I'm not very talkative at all. I kind of act like I'm mime when I'm at my job. Like if I don't have to say yes, I'll just nod my head. So I do what I do, and I'm kind of like a grunt worker. Like I'll do it to such an effective degree where I'll be so skilled, like nobody's really gonna get any joy out of like picking at me or whatever. So I just kind of keep my head down and keep the music in. But I observe everything around me. Don't get me wrong. I see all the managers at that place, and they're fucking huge, and they command a presence. And funnily enough, we had like 2 managers. They're like seasonal managers. Like they come in and they come out. And they're these like 2 chicks, and for the most part, they're relatively attractive. Like they're like one of them is a gymnast, I think, and the other was like some Stacy white girl. So there were no Beckys in that kind of management. So even like the face hierarchy amongst women, or that's like a whole nother thing that'll get you promoted just for looking that way. And you even notice it with like a lot of the tall like workers that eventually like get promoted. They become like crew trainers and they'll make like $1 more an hour. Is they're tall. Like they're just, if they do any kind of talking, or if they're extroverted to some degree, then it's because they're tall. It's like the weird dots that I connect, just seeing all these people around me. Well, I got YouTube videos buzzing in my ear. And if you're tall, like it's the effect where it just gives you more of an advantage in just about everything you do. You're stronger, you're fucking, like, who cares if your heart beats, you don't have longevity to you, because in this life you'll live a higher quality of life. It's almost brutal for the short guy, because he's gonna live a longer life, but that longer life is gonna be spent with more pain, and he's gonna have to suffer more. So maybe, like, the trade-offs aren't even there, to be honest. And I guess if you're tall, you probably get to eat more because you consume a lot more calories. And like the only time that I encountered people that weren't actually tall, that were, I guess, in somewhat like upper positions, maybe because the place was so small, it was the deli that I was working at. And that's the only time, like, they were just short and they commanded like the same authority, but they didn't get paid much. Here's a fucking deli. But man, like, if you're not tall, just forget about it. Like, if you're anything below 6 foot, whatever, forget about it. Your woman is going to be thinking about cheating on you. Any chance she can get, you're just going to be the next monkey branch for when a better opportunity strikes. So in your situation, yeah, good luck gatekeeping. Whatever loyal woman you think she is, you think she's loyal, she better be a just be first. You better have found her when she was, when you were both like tater tots or something. Because if you don't do that, then you're fucking, there's no loyalty. If you don't got some kind of stocks or bonds in that relationship built up already, and who knows. And even then, I hear examples of some of them monkey branching. So if you're just short, you're screwed. Like, what is a man to do if you're just short and you're disadvantaged in every aspect, and you have to live life on this impossible difficulty when it's already hard for like normal people? I'd say it's even hard for tall people. And yet, the malaise just keeps growing. The welt smears just smears its fucking blood all over the canvas and expect you to live this decadent life. And I guess I'll touch on the example of how height affected you during school. Because I'd see a lot of short kids get treated like shit. And for the most part, when I was in school, like, I never noticed anything. Because, I capped out early. My height capped out in like 8th grade. And I was already like, stacked above, most kids. I was like 5'9" in 8th grade. And that, at the time, that was tall. That was pretty much higher than just about 90% of the school. But, when high school struck and everybody started reaching 6 foot tall, like, you saw the popularity shift. And you saw, like, different people getting being in cahoots with these other kids, and you saw the football team being entirely different. So it was a whole entire fiasco there. Like, school was just a hodgepodge melting pot of fucking bullshit, man. And there were plenty of fights, and teachers wouldn't fucking butt in. None of the authority really steps up to the plate when it's actually time to. And after a while, you just kind of want to get away from people, because you see kind of their true nature at the end of close to junior year. You get really disillusioned with them. I wouldn't even want to speak to a single soul. I felt so disconnected from, most people at that age already. It seems like nobody was fun to be around, really. And another brutal thing about the height pill is the sheer discrepancy for what's in demand and what's not. Typically, the relationships you expect, tall people to get with tall people. You'd expect, since she's 6 foot, she wants to get with the 6 foot guy. But, well, yeah, that kind of remains true. But more often than not, the guy's looking for the spinners, the short stacks. And imagine if they had a kid and you're blessed with all these height genetics and you have a kid. Imagine he just becomes shorter than the father because of how short he married the chick. So because he decided to shag up this short broad, then the kid's gonna be short because of it. And that's, it's almost like my dad. Like, my dad is, I think, shorter than his dad because his mom was just that much shorter. And especially in most sports, like being a basketball player, being in the NFL, you kind of gotta be this gargantuan motherfucker. And, people are breeding kids just so they can have a chance at joining the NFL or joining the NBA. And even the happiest countries like the Netherlands, and they got people that are like 6'1" or 6'3" on average. And maybe like the mustache painter man was a little bit right on that whole Eugene-ix aspect to where, taller people are just happier. And it's always like the short people that are like the bugmen, working proletariat, slave, sleeping at their job, just like 16-hour sweatshop worker, bugmen, kind of like not even seen like in the eyes of other people like they are people. So like when you're short, you're almost less of a person. It's a brutal reality. One of the hardest pills to swallow. But then again, maybe it doesn't matter all that much who's tall and who's short or not, because in the end, everybody's getting shafted. Everybody's absolutely getting shafted, but I suppose tall people will be able to tolerate the bullshit a little better. They'll be able to, make a happy enough wage where they're not struggling too bad. Like if you're short, you're struggling, way too bad. But in the end, we're all, eggs are still $10. Eggs are still $10. And nothing's gonna change that. The small hat motherfuckers use the birds, the chickens, they swing them over their head. Maybe that's where all the budget's going. Maybe that's why they're so damn high, because they use it for like a sacrifice or some shit. But the brutal reality for all the short kings is that in the end of the day, nobody wants us. We've been replaced on all aspects. Soon we're gonna get replaced by robots. We've already been replaced by sex toys. We've gotten replaced by simply all the other new hires that are immigrants from different countries. We're getting replaced by everybody. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're just an excess man. I think a lot of those men were pretty much meant to die off in a war somewhere. But like most of us, I don't think we should have been living this long. It feels like, because in the olden times, people lived till like 33, or they got in some kind of freak accident, or they died in battle. And here we are. We're in a society that's being waged a war on, but yet like nothing's exactly happening. It's just the point from A to B is just so much more accelerated, where one day you're going to work and another day they put you in a van and then they send you off to Iraq or wherever they want you to fight, like they're doing in Ukraine. But when you got all these excess men that are nothing but tax burdens, because, that's probably what they're going to be, because that's likely what they want for themselves, and nobody wants to change nothing about it. They're just going to go full force. They're going to just come to your house and take you. It's like, I watch a lot of Angry Guy. Men are getting arrested for not working. Like those type of thumbnails. Men are getting arrested for jerking off. Men are getting arrested for being themselves. So here's an idea, guys. Not that it's your choice or anything, but maybe for the future, maybe short people should stop having kids. And maybe that, because when they start having kids, it just brings the endless cycle of suffering, death and rebirth, what have you, the Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail. That's a whole product of, either ugly people or short people deciding to bring kids into the world because they become more likely to become unwanted, more likely to be bullyable, whatever. If they ain't strong themselves, you get a world of hollow people. It's going to affect the kid, and it's almost cruel for the kid to have to go through that. So don't bring any short kids into the world. Heck, at this point, who knows if you even should bring any kids into the world, whether they're tall or short, because in this life, I'm already getting tired of wiping my ass and fucking hopping into the shower to blast it off and making food. And I'm at the point where I don't even think I was meant to live this long. I'm just screaming into the void, hoping someone's gonna hear me. Because I usually don't have anybody to talk to about these things, because you'll be looked at like a freak if you talk about these things in public, or any of the friends that you thought might have been your friends. So I just kind of marinate on all my thoughts, and they just collect. And if I don't get them out, I can't marinate on them forever. It's driving me insane for the most part. But maybe I'll do more videos like these that will have some substance to them, that'll have a kind of topical aspect to them. Maybe one day I could talk about, something else in another video, but maybe all this stuff is already overdone, and maybe me screaming into the void is completely utterly meaningless in the grand scheme of things. But I'm not that interesting a guy. I don't got much else to talk about other than what I feel about the current socioeconomic state of the world and every aspect of it. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, help get me up in the algorithm, because I need more attention, and I've gotten very little attention in my life, and I'm asking everybody to give me it like I'm some fucking chick off OnlyFans. I got no respect for myself at this point, so give me more attention. You figure that there's no Mr. Beast that's gonna come save my ass. It's gonna donate me $1 million or give me a house or whatever the fuck. So if I gotta do some means of ensuring some shit by, you know, unconventional shit like YouTube, then I guess that's the way it's gonna have to be. But, you know, hopefully everybody... I guess everybody's doing it now, but when everybody's a hero, no one is. So, you know, who knows what this saturation on the whole YouTube sphere will end up coming to, because, you know, most people ain't getting ahead other than if you're like Destiny or Asmongold or whatever. But that's for a different topic, I suppose. But if you like the video, subscribe. It's been your boy Froglet, and go have a blast.